Hello, so this is a tutorial in Revit of how to put in a slanted roof on a structure or a building and how to put in slanted glazing windows as you can see here. So here we have a slanted roof with 6 separate windows that we put on. So I will show you first how to do the glazing and then how to put on the roof over top and then how to put in the holes so you can see the windows. So here we have our 6 separate glazings. We'll remove them for now to start from the beginning. And what you want to start with is figure out which elevation your roof will start from. So you want to choose your floor plan where you want the bottom of your roof to start. So in this case, it would be the top of the lower ceiling. So we go into floor plans and choose top of lower ceiling to go into. So you just go over to your project browser, choose top lower ceiling. Now we go into architecture and we want to choose roof and roof by footprint because our glazing actually comes from a roof. So we choose the line tool and we want to create our area of our glazing. This doesn't have to be perfect in the plan view, it just gives us a good idea of where it's going to go. So you just want to make a complete square in the floor plan, and you can hit finish edit mode and go back to the 3D view to see how it looks. So click into your 3D browser. In our 3D view, this is how it looks. Obviously, this is not what our glazing will look like, but we first need to get the correct slope of the roof. So to do that, we want to find the slope of our current walls that we have. So we go into the annotate and we choose spot slope. What this tool does is it will give us the exact angle of an inclined surface. So we put it over our wall here and we see it's 47.51 degrees, and we can leave that there as we'll need it for our final roof in the end as well. So now that we know the angle, we can click back into our roof, and here these triangles are showing the slopes that it defines. So for this side here, we do not want it to define a slope, so we click off of that one as well as the other side. And the back we do not want to slope at all as well, so we take that off. The only slope we want here is our edge where our roof begins, so we want to put in the same degree that we found for the incline, which is 47.51 degrees. This will vary based on your walls and the heights of your walls. So here we have our roof, and to change it into a glazing, we simply click on the roof and we change it to sloped glazing. So you choose that and you have your sloped glazing. Once we have our glazing, what we want to do is change the size because we don't want it to be that big. Click in and you can simply make profile adjustments moving in the lines as such. You can make this to any dimension you want. Here we're just going to make it to about a size like so. Once we have that, it's actually not laying on the same plane as where your roof will be. So from the right view, this will be obvious. So to make this easy for ourselves, we can temporarily hide our wall using the temporary hide element. And here we can see that our glazing falls below where our roof would be. So we want to click that and move it up so it lies just along the wall as well. Once that's done, we can reset the temporary elements and our wall will be back there. So now you can see back in the home view, it's in a better spot, but to move it in between the columns so it's even, we can use the move tool. So you click the move tool and you want to select the glazing, and you can move it as you want to the right, left, up, down. And now that it's in position, we can simply copy and paste the glazings so they're all equal sizes. So using Control C and Control V like you would on any other program, you can copy the slope glazing and move it in between the columns. The main thing you want to make sure you're doing is keeping it level with the original one that you had in place. So Revit will give you that dashed line to show you that you're in the same place. So you keep going one by one until you have each of your windows in. So once you think you have them all in the right place, it should look like that. You can double check to make sure you didn't move any off, and that looks pretty even. So now we want to make our roof that will go in over top of our glazing, and this will be pretty easy now that we've already figured out our slope. All we're going to do is same steps but do the profile of the whole roof. So once again, you want to go into your floor plan of your top of lower ceiling or whatever elevation you want your roof to start. So in this case, it's top of the lower ceiling. So here we go in, and you want to go architecture, roof by footprint again. We used the line tool before. There's other tools you can use, such as pick lines, but for this case, as there's not many lines to choose from, it's easier just to use the line tool to create the roof outline. So again, this won't be exactly where the roof will go, but this will give us a good idea. So you want to make it as close as you can, and you want to make sure you make a complete outline. So once you have that, you can finish editing mode. That's how it looks in the floor plan. Once you go into the 3D view, you can see how it looks. Obviously, it's not perfectly in line with the walls, so we can click into our roof and go into our top view, and we want our roof to end where that top edge of our top ceiling ends. So you can just make profile adjustments by moving the lines in. On the sides, we want it to be just on the inside of the exterior, and same with the right side. So you just move the lines as you want. And our final bottom line, we want to move all the way to the bottom. So you can make your final profile adjustment, and you can double check how that looks once it's done by just finishing editing mode. And you can double check, and that looks like it's in a better spot. So now that we just need to define the slope of our roof again, like we did for the glazing. So just like we did before on the sides, we don't need to define slopes. We want to turn those off. Along with the back, we also want to turn off define slope. Now our final one that we do want the slope on, we use the same angle we did before, which is 47.51, or whatever angle that you found with the annotation tool. So once that's in, you can finish edit and see how that looks. So that looks a lot better. You can see there's a little gap in between the roof and the wall. So you can go into the right view to fix that. Simply again, using the move tool like we did before with the glazing, click on your roof element, hit move, pick a corner and put it to the corner of the wall so it lines up. And that is now flush with the wall, which looks good. So you always want to double check to make sure any of your elements aren't just hanging off. So now we have our roof, and if you click on it, you can see in behind you have your 6 glazings. Now what we want to do is put in shafts so that you can see the windows. There's many different shaft tools. What we want to use is the by face. This is because we're working on an inclined surface, so it will make it perpendicular to the surface we choose, which is what we want. To make this easier, we can go into graphic display options, choose wireframe. You can now see in behind your roof, and you can see the glazing outlines, which will make it easier for the profile adjustments. So now we go back to architecture, shaft by face, and you want to make sure you're clicking on your roof here. So now we're going perpendicular to the roof, and you want to make your shafts just along the edges of your glazing. Revit makes it easy by giving you the target snap option. You really want to make sure that you're doing this part correctly. Revit will give you an error if you don't complete a loop, so you want to make sure you're connecting everything. So just go one by one on each of these and making sure you're outlining the glazing correctly. It makes it a lot easier, as you can see, seeing the glazing in behind the roof. That's why we changed the graphic design there. So you go one by one, and you want to click all the endpoints until you have outlined all of them. So we just have one more left here. Sometimes Revit won't snap, but you can just keep going over it till you get it. And the final one, we want to go on each corner. And there we go. So once we're done, we double check, make sure we've gotten all of them, and that looks good. So we can finish edit mode, and we can also change the graphic display back, and there you go. So now you have your shafts right where your glazings are, and you have a roof that lays right over top slanted, and it's flush to your walls. So a good thing to do is double check your views to make sure that your shafts all worked well. Sometimes you might do a shaft too big that you can't see in one view, but you can see in another, so it's good to check. Once we're finished, we can remove the annotation there. And now, once you're done, you can change your roof type if you want. Here you can have the generic green, or you can use any type of roof that you want. But yeah, that's how you do a sloped roof with sloped glazing. There's many ways to do this, but this is one of the easiest ways that I've found. I hope this video helps you, and if you need to do anything with a sloped roof, this is how you do it.